Oh, and how the mighty have... If you're a Blackhawks fan, you can look back at the last few years and just know that what they did is amazing. The 3 cups in the span that they did up against some amazing teams. I mean, the Red Wings, the Ducks, pretty much that whole West was just stacked. The Sharks were really good as well, and the fact that they were able to win 3 cups in such a highly contested era, Boston Penguins, is amazing, but the bills now come, and it's time to pay. And it is not going to be fun if you're a Blackhawks fan now. And I'm a Penguins fan. And this is their season preview, by the way, for the 2021 season. I'm a Penguins fan. This is what's coming for us. So this is like scary for me of what's happening here. But yeah. Hope you enjoy alcohol, hope you enjoy beer, because you're going to need a lot to get through this next season. It has not got off to the best of start, and we haven't even dropped a puck yet, so let's run through, shall we? It all started with Kirby Dach injuring his wrist just before the World Junior got underway. He was named captain. It was looking all on the up and up. It would have been great if he managed to not get injured in this tournament. I think it would have. The upside was huge. The downside obviously being him not playing. It's going to affect a little bit of his development, but overall, the Blackhawks weren't going to do well this season anyway. But yeah, followed up by Jonathan Toews, who Stan Bowman has confirmed has been dealing with this issue for a while now. It's not something that's only been, quote, a few weeks. So whatever is wrong is wrong. They're still being tight-lipped about it, although there's now sort of rumors that they actually don't know what the issue is. He just feels lethargic, has no energy, and can't get things going. A lot of symptoms of mono. I'm not saying he has mono, but it seems to be that kind of like drained energy. So if you've ever had something on those lines, yeah, so I completely get it. Their main focus is his health, but he's out indefinitely. I can't see him in at least for the first month or two. I would say he'll be back in the lineup probably this year at some point. Maybe we'll see how the season's going. And then yeah. Alex Nylander is out entirely as well for the season. So yeah, not an ideal start. However, there has been some good news when it comes to injuries. I know we can breathe. We can breathe, Blackhawk fans. We can have a little breath. Shaw has come back and never looked better. Again, it's a Bowman quote. Hasn't looked better in a long time, so he's over his concussion, and hopefully he can just have a good season, a long season, without getting any conkies. And Zach Smith had successful back surgery, and he is back, and he is also looking fitter than he has been before, so probably look to him to get the output that he was a few years ago before. He's been dealing with back problems for a little while now, so yeah, hopefully this is a big fix for him. So there's some positives there. There are some positives. But yeah, it's not going to be a good open day lineup. This is what NHL.com, by the way, had as their preview, their projected lineup. It's more of a joke than the Blackhawks goaltender situation. Janmark is your first line center. Are you kidding me? I'm pretty sure the guy cannot even spell face off and you have him first line. Like, if this is so wrong in so many different levels. It's just terrible. Shaw's not even in the lineup as well, which, I mean, come on, guy. Like, come on. It's like the NHL.com website. Be a little bit better than that. That's terrible. Yeah, but it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. I mean, Soderberg is a top 2. This Sutter guy from Switzerland, who's only played in Switzerland throughout his whole career, he's coming across. He's been playing a game in Switzerland. He looks really good, but like needs to be protected a little bit. And like the fact that he's going from like, oh, maybe he'll start the season in the AHL to being like, oh, you can play second line center, right? Like you're fine to do that. It's not going to end well. Soderberg coming into the team as well on a $1 million deal. This is more of a stopgap to be like, well, we need some people in center. It just hurts. It just hurts the lineup. When you just go all the way through, there's no real depth. Obviously, you got Pat Kane. You know, he's historically done very well with scoring. It doesn't really matter what his line is. When people are out, he still doesn't really drop off too much. So look to him to do well. And to bring Cat did not have a good year last year, but actually I made a video on it months ago that every player that was below the height of 5'9" had a terrible season last year, except for Yamamoto, kind of the weird one. But they all went down about 0.4 points a game, every game. I don't know why, they just all did. So I kind of expect that was a weird anomaly and they're all going to bounce back. So yeah, look for DeBren Cat to do pretty well as well. But this team's depth is just so lacking that it's probably not the worst thing in the world that they're kind of forced to be bad for a season or two. with these injuries and with the goaltender situation where it is. And the defense. The defense is not very good either. I got Boquist and Keith. I think Keith still has a lot to give in this league. It's just more his cap hit is not reflective of that. You got Murphy, DeHaan. And then after that, it's kind of like, good. Oh, great. They don't even have Marta anymore. No, yeah. And then goaltending is really where there's an issue. Scott Darling today got put on PTO. So look for him to come to the team, but it's Dahlia and Subban. Both of them aren't NHL goalies. It's a huge chance for Subban. This is going to be his one chance to be an NHL goalie as a full-time star. This is it. This is the only time he's ever going to get this opportunity. There's no real goaltenders out there, and I kind of looked at like people that they can sign in free agency to help them. Brian Boyle came to mind, but then like that's not ideal. So yeah, like there's not really a lot out there. Kuhnhackl would be one just to bring in a little bit of grit and a bit better on the PK side of things. That would be a player that I would look at. It's not again gonna give a lot of wins or anything, but at least it protects because there's a lot of young players that are going to be coming up. There's a lot of players that are not NHL ready. They're going to be playing throughout this season, whether they'll start in taxi squads or not. Also got Brendan Peary. There's another player that you can kind of throw to the wolves a little bit. That's why I would get one of those two players. We'll get both of them because in a PK situation, you don't want your 23-year-old from Europe to play in these sort of situations. You want someone that you can be like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you block a shot. Go nuts, Tim Kuhnhackl. So I would pick up Kuhnhackl. I don't think he's going to win you games, but I think it protects your youth and your prospects there. Again, that's not super deep either. They did very well in the last draft, and 2019 wasn't bad either. But just obviously, everyone needs a bit more time. I'm curious to see how the Suter guy goes. I think he's going to be a decent player in the NHL. He's 24 now, but watching some highlights and some few things from Switzerland, he seems to be like have a lot of attributes that will move across to the North America game. But man, is it going to be a lot of goals against. And just the division's so tough. It's not an easy division at all. They are the worst team in it by a long way. I mean, the Red Wings are in it too, but like they just have a little bit more to go on. It's just not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun to be a Blackhawks fan. It's just going to be watching this team try play some sort of defensive system without a lineup that can really do that. So yeah, there's no real solution. There's no real answer. I don't think they're going to make any big splashes or any huge things to try fix this lineup. If it is, it'll be something like a Kuhnhackl or one of those sort of players to bring in on the cheap and then go from there. However, there are some things they can do for the future to help out. There are some trade pieces if people playing elevated minutes do well. Söderberg, Shaw, Smith, Janmark either have 1 or 2 years left in the deal. And if the whole thing is, I mean, they read letter to their fans saying the rebuild's happening. Obviously with these injuries and stuff like that, the rebuild's been really thrust into the next year. So they can get extra pieces for that. And they can pick up players in free agency on 1 or 2 year deals that can replace those 4 players. But at the trade deadline, especially with the playoffs coming in and such a short season, teams might get desperate and overpay for one of those players. So that could be really good. And then they've got some young players coming up. Walmart, Kemp. I'm so curious how those guys kind of fit in. Suter, another one that I mentioned. Not a lot of defensive prospects, unfortunately. There's a couple in there, but nothing noteworthy. I'll have to see them in a training camp and the start of the season before I can really tell. We go heads from tails there. But yeah, I'm curious how it all works out with some of those teams. So they're going to be an interesting team to watch, just not in a sense of they're not going to be winning games. And so yeah, if you are a Blackhawks fan, this is probably not the worst thing in the world to just have a crap season. It's going to be a weird draft, so going high in the draft and having a bit of security is good, because I have a feeling that from 5 down, it's going to be weird because players didn't play this year and there's going to be a lot of things up and down there. So you want to be a very high pick or a low pick and then you might get a steal. So that's going to be that. But that's why I'm thinking, if you trade away, get a couple of seconds, in the second round there could be players that would probably go on in the first round if the season's, played out to its full and whatnot. And so, yeah, so you get to avoid this player did well in 14 games in Sweden, so we're going to, he's now a first-round pick. You avoid all of that sort of stuff. Oh, man, this draft is going to be fascinating. absolutely fascinating. But yeah, it should be pretty good to see and go from there. But yeah, there's not really much they can do. I would get a couple of more vets, put in the taxi squad, just to protect the young players, because there's a lot of young players that are going to be playing third, fourth line. And they'll be going up and down the line and getting some time and some minutes. But yeah, man, it's just not going to be good. And I have a feeling we're about to watch the goaltending really suffer from it. Yeah, oh wow, it's just not going to be, it's not going to be fun to watch. Boquist, I really liked him last season, so yeah, so hopefully they can kind of keep it up afloat and just be competitive in games. They might be able to eke out a few wins, you never know. But yeah, this is my team that I have positioned in last. I think a lot of people have them positioned in last. It's just the goaltending, like, when sometimes with bad teams, goaltending can steal you games. Blackwood last year, Allmark, come to mind. They stole a couple of games, and that's, 10, 15 points in a season. These guys aren't getting that. They're just not. It sucks. Great retro reverse jersey, by the way. I'll give you credit there. It's one of the cooler ones out there. Yep. But anyway, that is the whole video. If you did like this video, hit the like button. Always hit subscribe down below. Yeah. Comment down below. What do you think of the Blackhawks? Probably not going to be great. Doing franchise mode with them just because I think it's going to be the hardest team to do it with. But yeah. Oh boy. Wow. It's actually amazing. Like, it is actually amazing just what this team's going to be opening night. Because just see all these projected rosters and everything. And they're all over the place. And it's just like, I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, a player currently in Russia is probably not going to come across in the NHL. Especially if there've been no rumors that they're going to do that. So just because they played 5 games in the KHL and scored a couple of points doesn't mean they're going to be NHL in a month. So yeah. Because usually you don't play in the KHL and come across mid-season. Usually, I'm done with my KHL contract. I'm now going to. Anyway, enjoy your day. A lot more season previews to come up. Curious of your thoughts on this one. Have a good one, and thank you, and bye.